Taco Tuesday and bringing it back to once again having a video that is going to be on interesting industry news. So today I am going to be talking about one of the more popular topics of today and of the past couple years, and that is talking about this next generation Bronco. So today, being Tuesday, we've actually seen quite a bit of stuff come out just recently having to do with the baby Bronco and the full-size Bronco. So today we actually did see some renderings that had come out, but they almost appear to be real actual renderings. So that is one of the very exciting things about the industry that we are so interested in, obviously invested in, is that here and there on forums we get some interesting renderings or even full pictures of leaked photos, which in this case it seems to be more of that case. So diving right in to the baby Bronco picture that we saw, or at least what we've been calling the baby Bronco, but evidently if this comes to be true, that means that this is going to be called the Bronco Sport, which is a term that manufacturers use quite a lot nowadays for any and all sorts of miniature or smaller versions of vehicles. They call it a sport model. They've done that with the Ford Explorer in the past, I believe, and also other vehicles where they just do a smaller version of it. So what we originally had thought to be just going to be like a miniaturized version of that is honestly just going to be based off of the Ford Escape platform. It's the same exact platform that we believe that is going to be based off of. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how they may end up changing it, but I am anticipating them to use basically the same powertrains that are in the Ford Escape today. So there's going to be like their entry level, which is their EcoBoost 3-cylinder, and then maybe a more powerful version, obviously an EcoBoost 4-cylinder. So that is not something that would come as a surprise to me when that one day does come to the market, and obviously once Ford does decide to reveal it to us. So that'll be cool to see when it does actually get revealed, because if these leaked images come to be true, then unfortunately it looks like Ford's reveal party is going to be just a little bit underwhelming compared to had we not seen these leaked photos. But being that it's just such a popular topic nowadays, it's going to be difficult to hide some of those things, especially for those that are so fortunate to get their hands and eyes on those newer models prior to the public, us, getting to see it. So I guess we'll get to see what that's going to look like in the future. But one thing that I did notice when looking at these pictures is that the hatch on the very back of the Bronco Sport appears to be very F-150 like, or at least it took some inspiration from it, because the way that the F-150 currently looks with its tailgate setup actually looks very muscular, and it has a really good look to it. But the Bronco Sport, at least in this photo, if it does turn out to be true, has like a really athletic, almost bulky 3D look to the back of it. So definitely check out some of those renderings and pictures that came out if you do want to check those out. They're pretty interesting to look at. But there is a picture that has the hood up, and it almost looks like it could have one of the similar power chains kind of tucked into it that the Escape does, being that it's a transverse layout. So 4-cylinder, turbocharged, and most likely an 8-speed automatic, very similar to what is in the Ford Escape today. Another thing that I would expect with this smaller Bronco is going to be somewhat similar to how the Jeep Cherokee and Jeep Renegades have different packages with them. There's the Trailhawk version, which obviously is their more off-road worthy one, with like terrain management systems in them, and even a locker in some cases. So I would expect in this I keep wanting to say baby Bronco, but I would expect in this Bronco Sport model that they're going to have either an FX4 package or maybe even a Raptor version one day, just how we anticipate the Ford Ranger Raptor to become a thing. It wouldn't surprise us if Ford did decide to one day add that to it. So all very interesting things, just kind of looking at some of the pictures that looks like it's going to be a really interesting crossover. I mean, that more or less that is what the Bronco Sport is. It's going to be just a beefier crossover, or a crossover that does offer a couple different packages and setups. Like I said, whether that be FX4 or one day a Raptor version, I would lean a bit more towards an FX4 version, just similar to how other manufacturers have kind of responded to the calls of the buyer and adding in more off-road worthy crossover options. Just how like the Toyota RAV4 now has a TRD off-road version. You don't get a locker with it, but it does give it some other off-road little bits and pieces that make it look a little bit more off-road worthy, or even in some cases more functionally capable off-road. So that is what information I do have on the Bronco for right now. Another thing to keep an eye out for is other renderings and photos of the larger two-door version, which I, as we've stated in the past, do anticipate that to be based off of the Ford F-150. So we'll see what comes out with the full-size one, but I believe that there are some pictures circulating out there for that too, so definitely check those out when you get the opportunity. So another thing that we have seen out here in the market lately, and in the world of automotive enthusiasts and on forums, is talking about the upcoming Hummer electric vehicle. So it was previously told to us, and as we have seen online, that this is actually going to be a GMC branded vehicle that's going to be called the Hummer, but it's going to be in a truck version. But that was just a short bit of information, and we were like, oh, okay, you know, an electric truck, you know, this is GM's little entry into a Tesla Cybertruck fighter is what we were anticipating, but it was recently announced that they are also going to be doing an actual truck, or excuse me, an actual SUV version along with it as well. So that is kind of exciting to see that GM is actually not going to be doing just a truck version that's an electric vehicle. They're going to also be doing an SUV version. So they're going to have both versions of this electric Hummer for us to check out, and it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I believe this is going to be the decade of electric pickup trucks and also electric vehicles in general. So it's always exciting to see more entries come in, because ultimately that means that the buyer is going to get what they want, whether it be in a GM package for the die-hard GM fans, or for a Ford F-150 hybrid or all-electric truck. All of that is going to be coming this decade. I'm not going to swear by it, but I'm just saying, mark my words, this is getting to be a pretty interesting time for all of us who are very interested in the automotive world, and of course those that are part of the teams who want to buy into Tesla, GM, Ford, whoever makes this all-electric vehicle that's going to be the best one. That is remain to be seen, but we can always place our bets now. Of course, Tesla is ahead of the game right now, but GM and Ford, of course, have put their research and development teams obviously heavily into that field, because they know that it's the next big thing. And while the internal combustion engine is still relatively young, electric vehicles are all the rage nowadays, and are of course gaining popularity as the days go on, and will eventually, more than likely, be the sole provider of vehicle propulsion. That's what I was trying to say. So I think it's going to be, again, not to sound redundant, but this is going to be a very, very interesting time for all of us this coming decade. So between 2020 and 2030, people are going to be getting rid of their gas, diesel, hybrid vehicles, and opting more for the all-electric vehicles that they can plug in at home, because electricity costs by the mile are going to be, and with the energy costs, are going to be far less compared to the comparable gas vehicle or diesel vehicle. So I'm just super excited to see where this is going to head, and how long I'm going to hang on to an internal combustion vehicle. Well, that's remained to be seen. I probably will have one for quite some time, but stay tuned. We'll find out. And that about wraps up today's Taco Tuesday video. If you all have any questions or comments, definitely leave those in the section below. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do consider doing so. And also giving this video a thumbs up if you liked it and want us to keep up this particular type of content. And of course, if you need anything from us. If you have any suggestions, we would love to hear from you. Please don't hesitate to do that as well. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic